Range Rover Evoque is not only one of the most talked about cars on the motoring landscape, but the most radical Range Rover yet, especially in three-door guise. If there was a prize for a car that turns the most heads, then the Range Rover Evoque would certainly be in line for an award. We've never been swamped by so many onlookers and been bombarded by so many questions during the time this vehicle's been with us. But then, of course, this is a Range Rover with a difference. The Evoque is Range Rover's attempt at a vehicle that's both innovative and more compact than the juggernauts usually occupying its stable. Compact means more wieldy, more efficient and a lot easier to drive. But because this is a Range Rover, the Evoque also has to deliver as far as luxury and prestige are concerned. And then there's Range Rover's extensive all-terrain go-anywhere reputation to consider. All Evoques sold in South Africa are all-wheel drive, but none offer low-range gearing, and those fancy wheels and tyres look more suited to urban use than tackling the rough stuff. Think Mini on extreme steroids and you have some idea of the impression this car leaves. The sloping roofline, the large wheels and those short overhangs provide an almost cartoonesque image. But don't fear, there's more to this car than just cute looks. It's certainly a head-turner with a shape that mixes the cocky stance and visual muscle of a compact sports car to the height and presence of an SUV. It doffs a hat to the more conventional Range Rover brand values, but swaps regal for irreverent and traditional for an unruly streak. Clearly, this is a Range Rover for younger, well-off folk. The three-door coupe is the sexier Evoque option, but also the least practical. Buyers get to choose between two different executions, premium and dynamic. The former is the more conservative choice, while the dynamic looks the bolder, sportier part. Brighter exterior colours, the black grille and the white roof are a direct visual reference to the lifestyle appeal of the universally appreciated Mini, while also conveying the more adventurous mentality of existing or would-be Evoque owners. The Evoque under scrutiny here is powered by a 2.2-litre turbo diesel engine. It produces 140 kilowatts of maximum power coupled to 310 newton-meters of torque. Now, it's a smooth and refined enough unit, but the problem with it is that it suffers from low-down lag, and that really does compromise dynamics, especially when pulling away. You have to preempt throttle input because it takes what feels like an eternity before the Evoque responds to the loud pedal, so that getting off the mark in traffic is often frustratingly sedate. Once on the boil, the engine offers plenty of brio and it shines when cruising at highway speeds. But it lacks vital sparkle in a package that promises just that in every other respect. Add the tall gearing of the auto box and lethargic is the best way to describe the diesel Evoque in urban use. In pure execution terms, the Evoque's interior is well equipped and comfortable. But this coupe has a problem. Access to the rear seats is really difficult, and because of that sloping roofline, headroom is at a premium too. Still, the cabin isn't short of upmarket appeal, and it expresses an exclusive approach that's superior to the mass-market designs typical of even top-end marques. Leather abounds, together with high-tech trim finishes, while the Evoque's aura of sophistication is underscored by its comprehensive spec list. Attention to detail is impressive, and there's a cohesion to the interior design that suggests long-term aesthetic appeal rather than a mere expression of current fashion. Those familiar with Jaguar and Land Rover products will recognize elements of both in the cockpit. These include the touchscreen display and the rotary gearshift controller, the latter more familiar from the Jaguar stable. There's also a simplified terrain response system. The glass roof is exposed at the push of a button. The boot offers ample loading space and is also equipped with cargo rails and adjustable tie-down lugs. In addition, the split rear seat can be folded down to create an even larger luggage area. On the move, the Evoque feels more sports car than sport utility. The chassis remains admirably composed despite the vehicle's SUV-style height, and it corners with controlled intent. The steering could be a little more responsive, but it does provide decent feedback, and it loads up sufficiently when driving briskly while still offering ample assistance in parking lots. The brakes are well up to the task too. The fact that this diesel version of the Evoque suffers from a lot of low-down lag and that it defaults to second gear on pull-off for some strange reason means that it often feels dynamically compromised. Of course, on the open road things are a lot better and you do get to savour the mid-range torque, which is a strong point of the vehicle. Land Rover says it does the 0 to 100 dash in under 9 seconds and the top speed 190 kilometers an hour. Tackle the twisties and the suspension manages to keep matters taut and tidy without turning the ride into a jaw-jarring ordeal. Indeed, the chassis is one of the Evoque's highlights, with an inherent agility that makes for entertaining and involving driving. The Evoque heralds a new era for the Range Rover brand. It's smaller, wieldier, lighter and trendier than the Range Rover Sport, but in diesel form it doesn't quite have the pep you'd expect. And for my money, I'd go for the petrol, and from a practicality perspective, the 5-door makes more sense too. But regardless of the model or the configuration, the Evoque moves Range Rover into a more contemporary, trendier space, and in doing so, it is already attracting a whole new audience, which of course was the point in the first place. On paper, the 2.2-litre turbo diesel should get the job done with ease, especially with all that power and torque. Fuel consumption is impressive too. The result is a brave, innovative and hugely appealing take on lifestyle motoring, but turbo lag lets the side down and rear seat practicality is compromised.